Today we're gonna steal from the rich and give to the poor, but before we do so, we have to make 2 cocktails for the movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Might I have the pleasure of your name?
Welcome to Boozy Movies, where watching movies and making cocktails is what we do.
Did you give yourself this name?
Our first cocktail is an old-fashioned style cocktail with fresh and herbal flavors of a wooded forest, called Sherwood Forest.
No, I made that myself.
Our second cocktail is spirit forward, mystical, and peaty. Inspired by our favorite Alan Rickman, is the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Recognize this?
Kevin Costner's Robin Hood spends a lot of time in Sherwood Forest, proving that accents are optional, charisma is mandatory, and outlawing the rich is apparently easier than figuring out basic medieval fashion. Thankfully, Alan Rickman shows up as the Sheriff of Nottingham and proceeds to carry the movie on pure, gleeful, villainous energy.
Well, before we take on the sheriff, we need to train our army in the Sherwood Forest. Let's make it.
Reckon I'm going to enjoy this.
For Sherwood Forest, we're going to be using Terrior Gin, Walnut Liqueur, bay leaf simple syrup, and celery bitters.
In a mixing glass, combine 2 ounces of Terrior Gin, 3/4 of an ounce walnut liqueur, 3/4 of an ounce bay leaf simple syrup, and 2 dashes of celery bitters. Add ice and stir until chilled. Strain into a chilled rocks glass with a sphere and express a grapefruit peel over the drink. Then garnish with the peel and a fresh bay leaf. And here we have Sherwood Forest. Inspired by some ingredients that perhaps are a little bit debatable, as in the bay leaf simple syrup.
This is English courage.
Now, a lot of people would say that they are confused that bay leaf doesn't actually contribute a lot of flavor to things.
Wrong.
But a couple things. We got fresh bay leaves. We made a really tasty, very fragrant simple syrup out of the bay leaves.
Trust in that.
And we put it in this cocktail. With the terroir, it plays really well with those woodsy notes in the terroir.
You are sure?
There's a little bit of celery bitters in there, which you might find a little bit confusing, but that gives it more of that earthiness.
It definitely
Again,
does.
Tastes a little bit more of the ground.
What do we need that the forest cannot provide?
And it gives it a little bit of saltiness because celery is a touch salty. Yeah, so that's another reason why we didn't put saline in it.
Right.
You stirred up a bloody hornet's nest now.
This is also the first time we used the walnut liqueur. I think it's very rich. It has a lot of depth to it. Like we were talking about, there's you get some like clove and allspice flavoring in it, which really just really opens up this cocktail a lot and does remind me of like a walk through the woods.
This forest has eyes.
Now, terroir gin tends to be a bit punchy in the mouth by way of being a little bit astringent to a lot of people. The amount of simple syrup that's in here, it does curb pretty much all of that. Along with, again, the grapefruit bitters, the grapefruit express.
That really helps too.
It helps open things up.
For certain.
Definitely only express appeal over because you just want to like barely kiss it with some grapefruit.
You'll not regret it.
Well, now that we have trained all our troops up and we're ready to leave the forest, we're gonna head to Nottingham and we're gonna foil the sheriff's plan.
I truly hope so.
But before we make the Sheriff of Nottingham, we'd like to stop you for just 1 second and ask that you hit that like just below, subscribe if you haven't, and ring that bell if you haven't already, just to remind you to come back every week because we have 2 more cocktails and another fantastic movie, and it would make this little band of merry men very happy.
All right, it's time to greet the sheriff.
Bring them out.
For the Sheriff of Nottingham, you will need Scotch, cherry herring, simple syrup, absinthe, saline, and an amarena cherry.
In a mixing glass, combine 2 ounces of Scotch, a 1/2 ounce cherry herring, a 1/4 ounce simple syrup, a bar spoon of absinthe, and a dropper of saline. Add ice and stir until chilled. Strain into a chilled Nick and Nora glass and garnish with a gold Demitasse spoon with an amarena cherry heart. And here we have the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Scotch is nice and peaty. We used Johnny Walker Black.
Sorry about that. It'll make it more convincing.
That one has a lot of kind of tar. Reminded me of kind of castle themes.
Yeah, kind of that dark, dreary, kind of wet, damp sort of like kind of feeling you would get, right, if you were in a castle of that era.
You have a better idea?
Now, we balanced some of that Scotch with a couple of things. What are you getting?
Well, the cherry hearing in there is really good. And although you just put a touch, just a bar spoon of that absinthe in there, you get just a little bit of it coming through. And I think they all kind of mix together really good.
Truly, you are a wizard.
Yeah, it's a really great blend. We balanced it with a little bit of simple syrup, which we found that we definitely needed, as well as saline.
Begging your pardon, Sally.
Saline is incredibly important in anything that you have a stone fruit in. It really helps bring forward those flavors, really helps meld things together. But yeah, that little bit of absinthe also helps brighten things.
It certainly does.
Opens things up.
It has a mighty kick, eh?
It makes that peatiness feel a little bit more fresh.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
So we definitely have to talk about the little garnish here. We have a cherry, which represents a heart, but you may be asking yourself,
Why a spoon, cousin?
well, it's a very fun scene. Robin Hood gives the sheriff a little nick to the face.
I'm gonna cut your heart out with a spoon.
He was like searching for anything to say, and he just like came out with that line. It was really, really funny. And then Guy of Gisborne questions, he's like, why a spoon?
His accent was the most confusing to me.
It was very deep and guttural. It was very, It's like he has something caught in his
But
throat.
at least he was trying. Like,
He was trying.
Nobody else in the entire movie.
Morgan Freeman tried a bit.
If it's fame you seek, Christian, I think you have it.
Morgan Freeman, you're right.
Christian!
Yeah, and then the maid Marian, she kind of tried to speak in Old English.
Old tongue, right?
Yeah.
She's tried to speak proper without an accent.
These years have left us many in need.
All very confusing.
Until
but,
she was flustered, and then was like all out the window.
Yeah.
But all I remember of you is a spoiled bully who used to burn my hair as a child.
I will say though, when I was 12 years old, I didn't think about that, and I just thought this movie was pretty awesome. I think it's fun, it's action-packed. Also, we couldn't help but do another Alan Rickman cocktail.
You've been busy.
If there's one thing you know about our channel, if you've been here long enough, this is our third one that we've done.
There's always room for one more.
Yeah, so if you're sensing a theme, Forrest cocktails and Alan Rickman cocktails. So maybe what you should do is tell us below, what's the next Alan Rickman cocktail we should come up with?
It makes no difference.
Is there another Alan Rickman movie where he's in a forest? That's what we need. Because then we can just merge the two together. She would love it.
Well, at least I didn't use a spoon.
Speaking of the forest, I think we should go ahead. We should bring this in.
Let's bring that in. We'll talk more about this movie. And it's kind of interesting because the Robin Hood story has been told so many times.
How many?
One of my favorite ways is the animated
It's fantastic.
version.
Absolutely.
Incredible. I watched that so many times.
Sorry to keep you hanging about.
The Sheriff of Nottingham, Alan Rickman, just to me, an amazing performance.
Yeah.
And one thing, I was actually doing some research, a couple of things. He actually thought the script was not very good.
That's a little inappropriate, don't you think?
And he asked his friends, some script writing buddies, to kind of like punch up his lines a little bit.
No more merciful beheadings.
And call off Christmas.
And he kind of ends up stealing the movie a bit.
You sure?
I would say that the one thing that I did know about this movie as a younger person and really associated with this movie and thought like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna be good, is the theme song.
Bryan Adams, everything I do.
I'll do it for you.
This is sort of back in an era where there were so many songs. They would like, hey, what we need is we need a big act, whether it's a band or a solo artist,
Sure.
to write a song specifically for this movie.
Yeah.
And this song was a huge hit.
Where do you hear such lies?
And we've seen others in the past, obviously, with movies like Top Gun and Ghostbusters.
Bodyguard.
Yeah, but Bodyguard,
Another Kevin
right?
Costner.
Another Kevin Costner film.
I thought you'd say that.
There's also obviously, Titanic and Armageddon. Those had some hits, but there was such like a rich part of movies, and I don't know if that's been lost a little bit or where that's kind of gone. It just doesn't hit the same.
You're right. I would say that the one movie franchise that we see that for really is still the Bond movies. They always have like the Bond song, and it's a big deal.
Right.
It's a big part of the marketing campaign.
Oh, it's huge.
Hired thugs.
Coming up in some of our future episodes, we're gonna do something a little out of the norm. We're gonna focus on an ingredient that we've been using a lot recently and really loving.
We also have a bunch of movies coming up, as per usual, with 2 inspired cocktails, just like this. One is an animated one. I might throw in some mocktails. And then we've got a coming of age movie.
All right, we're gonna see you next week, where we're gonna have 2 more cocktails
That's right.
and another great, funny movie. Oh, she's gonna. Cheers.